Yo, yo, yo. Steve J Hoops here. I got a little time. I got a little time tonight, man. Let's talk about the sorry ass Dallas Mavericks in the NBA Finals. Let's talk about them. If you're tuning in, please make sure you hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, you can subscribe to the channel as well. DFJ Hoops. Um, let's talk about. Let's get right into this. Let's not waste any more time. So, first of all, the Boston Celtics are most likely gonna win this championship this year. So uh congratulations to the Boston Celtics in advance because I don't see Dallas really coming back down from a 3 deficit or whatever. It's never happened in basketball. It's happened in other sports. It's happened in baseball, it's happened in hockey, I believe, but in basketball it's very it's it's likely not going to happen, right? It's not happening. I don't think Dallas coming back from this deficit. They'll probably win a game or two. I mean, I think they'll probably win a game, and that's it. I think they win game four, and then Boston will close them out on their home floor, just like they did back in 2008 when they closed out the Lakers in game six on their home court. So, but I just want to give a few shout out to the Boston Celtics, the Celtics players, um, the coaching staff, what you call it, Joe Mazzulla. His game plan was so effective, and the results are they're up 3-0. So that shows you how effective his game plan was, especially his defensive strategies in the series right here. So shout out to him, his entire coaching staff. Sam Cassell's on that. He's on that staff. So shout out to him as well. I really have a ton of respect for Sam Cassell. But what went wrong for the Dallas Mavericks? Now, had it coming into this series, I had Dallas winning this series, right? Because of what they went through back in the Western Conference. I mean, they beat 350 win teams. They beat the Clippers. They beat the number one seed Thunder, and they beat the Minnesota Timberwolves and got to the finals. And I expected them to, continue to I expected them to continue to dominate. I mean, not really dominate, but I expect them to continue to play at the highest level that they were playing at. Even though their star players had series where they were a little bit mediocre. I mean, Luka Doncic in that first round, he was so inefficient. Kyrie in the second round was not himself. I mean, he averaged like 15 points in that series. I mean, it was by design because he was drawing a lot of double teams, putting two on the ball every single time, and they were forcing other guys to beat them. But that game plan, I think Boston adapted that game plan and they executed it to the highest level, and they've had a lot of success with it. Um, but yeah, watching that game last night, I was so pissed off that I didn't even want to. I didn't even feel like recapping the game because I was so frustrated. I was so pissed off um, at the entire team, and it starts from the head to the from top to bottom, not just one player or not just one person or not just one person or two people, but the entire team as a whole. And it starts from the top. It starts from the coaching staff, from Jay Kidd and his everybody on his staff, Jared Dudley and all those other guys, right? And it comes on down to all the players that checked in to play. Now, again, you got to give Boston a lot of credit because they they have made it so difficult for this Dallas Mavericks team, and with Dallas struggling the way they have, I mean, I think it's definitely a terrible look for the Western Conference because what you keep hearing is the Western Conference is the toughest conference, but Dallas got out of the West and they're in the finals and they're getting embarrassed like this, right? Now, I know somebody's going to say that, but Dallas is not the best team from the Western Conference, which is true, right? It definitely is true. I'm not going to argue that, but Dallas came out of the West, so and they were in the tough West. They were the fifth seed, right? So they did what they were supposed to do, right? They beat 350 win teams, and they got to the finals. So you would think that they'll probably play, high level basketball with the best players. I mean, Luka Doncic, Kyrie, and then everybody else, PJ Washington, Derrick Jones, and all those other guys. But They have been so mediocre. Especially, let me start with the best player, Luka Doncic. Now, Luka, he's had a couple games here and there where he's dropping, 30-point games, right? He's had a few games where he's dropping 30-point games. But defensively, he has been so trash, right? I saw a stat on Instagram that says that players are blowing past him almost 70%, close to 70% of the time. So that shows you he's not even giving any effort whatsoever. He's just letting guys blow past him, and he's showing no resistance whatsoever, right? And this is where I got to blame Jason Kidd because he's the head coach, right? And their defense has been so atrocious, and I don't know what they want to do. You're playing a switching type defense, and in a switching type defense, you just don't have the athletes, you don't have the personnel to execute that type of defense. So why are you running that defensive coverage, right? And then guys cannot even contain the ball. So if your guys cannot even contain the ball, why would you be running? Why would you try to switch everything? Because they can't even contain the ball in the first place. So trying to switch everything is really working in their disadvantage because they can't contain the ball. The offensive they can't keep the offensive players that they're guarding in front of them. So if they're switching everything, it's always going to be a blow by every single time. And Luka Doncic is showing no effort whatsoever, right? I don't think he even believes in playing defense, which I mean, it's cool. I mean, do whatever works for you, but I mean, you're at the biggest stage in basketball, right? The NBA finals. And when you get there, you should be willing to do whatever it takes to win, right? That's what winners do. That's what champions do. They're willing to do whatever it takes for their team to win because the NBA finals is, I believe, it's a privilege to get to the NBA finals. It's not a right, it's a privilege, right? And you earn your way to the NBA finals. You don't, it's not given to you, right? They don't give people participation like, yo, go to the finals. Yeah, go to the NBA finals. Yo, you go to the NBA finals. No, they don't do that. You have to earn your way to get to the NBA finals, right? And when you get there, it's not a guarantee that you might get back there again. Let me say it again. When you get to NBA finals, it's not a guarantee that you might get back there again. You can ask Allen Iverson, right? You can ask Charles Barkley, right? Allen Iverson got to the finals in 01 and he hasn't been back ever since. I mean, he never went back ever since. I mean, he's retired now, so I mean, y'all get what I mean. But yeah, he got there in 01 and never got back. Charles Barkley got to the finals in 1993 and he never got back there again. Right? A few other players that I'm just probably forgetting about them, right? They got to the finals and they never got back there again. They got there one time and they never got back there again. And with Allen Iverson, he gave it everything he had. So he's not gonna sit there and regret like, yo, had I done this different? Have I done this different? If I had did this, if I had did that, we probably would have won. I don't think Allen Iverson feels that way because he gave it everything he had. Averaged 35. Now Luka is averaging, huge offensive numbers, right? We're not gonna take that away from him. Yeah, we'll definitely give him that. I think his averages was probably at 29 because he only dropped 27 points in game 3 and he ended up fouling out. And some of his fouls that he picked up, some of those fouls were just terrible fouls. Some of those fouls were just off of frustration, right? Because the referees are not giving him the calls. They're not giving him the whistle. They're not blowing the whistle for him. And I just think he's just using that as excuses to not play defense because I've had a teammate like that before. And when you play with this guy always wanted to have the ball in his hands, right? So when he has the ball in his hands, he wants to take every shot, don't want to pass it to nobody, right? And when he goes up and there's contact and he blows the layup and they don't call a foul, it's either one or two things. He'll either argue with the refs or he'll just fake an injury and just lie there because he's not trying to get back on defense. And I think that's the same thing with Luka Doncic. He's not showing any effort, right? He's not trying to get back in transition to help his team, and he's just arguing with the refs, and it's just helping the Boston Celtics. So what are they doing? They get the ball off the rebound and they push it in transition, and you see them get a lot of a lot of easy points. They don't even have to work for it because they're working on a 5v4 fast break because Luka's arguing with the officials. He's arguing with the refs, and it's just terrible to put your team in a situation like that. On top of that, you're getting blown by almost every single time. And offensively, Luka took 27 shots. I mean, yeah, he took 27 shots and got 27 points. That is so terrible. And you see him trying to foul bait. Like he has mismatches on him, and he's trying to foul bait, bro. He had Peyton Pritchard on him underneath the basket, no double teams, no nothing, and he's trying to draw a foul. That is so terrible, and that's when I question J Kidd. Like, bro, what are you telling this guy? What are you telling this guy? Because you're in the finals now. J Kidd got to the finals, right? He got there in 02, 03. I mean, he lost both times. First to the San Antonio Spurs. I mean, first to the Lakers, and the second one to the San Antonio Spurs. Both teams had generational talents, Tim Duncan and Shaq, right? And then he won. He finally got over the hump in 2011 when he was on the Dallas Mavericks, and he was probably like 36, 37 years old, right? So J Kidd has been in this situation before, so he knows what it takes to win. So I'm questioning, like, what is he telling Luka Doncic? Because what he's doing is just hurting his team because he's not getting back on defense, and Boston is just, they're getting easy points in transition. They don't even have to work for it. It's a 5v4 almost every single time when he goes to the basket and he doesn't score, or he doesn't even, get the foul. Or even sometimes he'll score and then he'll be jogging, not getting back on defense, and it's just hurting the team. Now, let me get to J Kidd right here. What does J Kidd, what does he do with his team in terms of, defensive drills? Because I'm watching this Dallas Mavericks team, and I'm surprised that nobody's calling it out. And, because, I mean, I think it's an agenda. It's about who you like, right? When you don't like a certain player, you blame that player, right? But when you like a certain player and that player comes up short, you blame the coach, right? I'm surprised that nobody's calling out J Kidd, because watching the Dallas Mavericks out there playing defense is just, I'm like, yo, what are they doing in practice? They send double teams to the post, right? And every time you send a double team to the post, every time you double team, you should get ready to rotate because the other team might find the open man, right? So it's just, I mean, nobody should even tell you to rotate, right? Because if you're doing this in practice, it should be second nature. Nobody should tell you to, yo, pick up this man, yo, rotate over here, yo. Nobody should tell you that. And watching this Mavericks team, it was just funny how they'll just send double teams to the post, and Boston would just be toying with them and, playing hot potato with it, and then they'll find the open man, and then Derek White, open three, Al Horford, open three. Even Xavier Tillman was hitting on open three. Shout out to him. He came in because Kristaps Porzingis missed that game. He came in and he gave them some solid minutes. He was getting some offensive rebounds. He was getting defensive rebounds, and he was also holding his own on the perimeter because they was trying to they thought he was a mismatch and they thought they could attack. So they got him on the perimeter sometimes, and Luka Doncic attacked him, but I mean he pretty much held his own. Now Luka did make a few tough buckets on him, but he had to work for it, right? So Xavier Tillman definitely gave them some solid minutes coming off the bench. So shout out to him. Got traded there midseason. I forgot who they gave up, but yeah, that was a good pickup for them. He gave them some solid minutes coming off the bench at that backup center position. So shout out to Xavier Tillman. And I think almost every player on Boston was pretty much solid on defense. Even Peyton Pritchard, who's a little guy, probably 5'11", and Lucas posting him up. And like I said, he was trying to draw a foul, and he ended up smoking that layup. Luka missed a lot of layups around the basket, and now saying to myself, like, bro, what are you doing? You're just killing the momentum of this team because already y'all was struggling to generate offense, right? They had multiple scoring droughts in this game, and in that third quarter, it was just it was just sad because Boston, I think Boston ran the same play. I counted like 3 or 4 times, probably more than that, right? But I just counted it 3 or 4 times, and it was just like, yo, Dallas cannot adjust to it. They just couldn't adjust to it, and then Boston then goes on a drought, right? They score like 2 points, and I think a 4 minute stretch or something like that. Let me see. I wrote it down in my notes. So yeah, they only scored 2 points in a 5 minute stretch, and they was up 21 at the point, right? At that point, but Dallas started going on the run, right, making threes, and they were getting stops. I don't consider it getting stops. I mean, Boston was still getting the shots they wanted. They were still getting open looks. The only thing is the shots was not falling. So I'm not even going to consider it, getting stops. If they got to any spot they wanted on the floor because Dallas couldn't contain the ball. Dallas could not stop the dribble penetration, right? They gave up a lot of wide open looks, which they have been doing throughout the course of the series. But for whatever reason, Boston was just not hitting. And Dallas started going on the run. I mean, Kyrie was hitting some tough mid-range shots and some tough threes, some tough step back and sidestep threes, which those are the shots that Boston wants to give up because those are above the break threes. They're not trying to give up corner threes in this series because they figured out that Dallas really takes advantage of those corner threes, and they definitely watched the series against OKC, and they saw PJ Washington hitting all those corner threes. But PJ Washington ended up hitting a corner three, which I know they were definitely. I know Joe Mazzulla is definitely at the time he was probably furious about it because that's not the types of shots they want to give up. They want to give up above the break threes, but Dallas starts going on a run and they start to cut into the lead, and then they cut it to three at one point, right? And then here comes Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown starts attacking. Jaylen Brown starts getting to the basket, hitting mid-range shots, and they couldn't contain him on the perimeter. They couldn't stop him. They couldn't contest a shot. He got to any spot he wanted in the mid-range. He got to the basket. Even one point, he drove past everybody and dunked it over two guys. Now they switched it. They switched the pick and roll, and Luka was supposed to pick up Jaylen Brown, and Jaylen Brown just drove past him, and he got in the lane, and he just flushed it on everybody else. And I was just like, "Yo, what is this defense doing?" Now, initially, before the game started, I was saying that Dallas was supposed to. They should try out zone defenses and see what it looks like because you can't stop the dribble penetration. Like they're getting Luka's getting blown by. Almost all these guys are getting blown by, right? And then offensively, the spacing is just terrible. Kyrie can ISO on one side, and the spacing is just terrible. Luka ISOs and the spacing is terrible. And they were not going after mismatches. Even I don't even know if I should say mismatches because Al Horford is definitely he's holding his own, right? I think Kyrie took him to the cup one time, and he was able to recover, but he wasn't able to block the shot. But he still was able to get back into play. So he's still showing you some a little bit of even though if I get blown by, I could still try to recover and try to block the shot or try to bother it to a point where it's a miss, right? So he's showing you that, but Dallas was not showing you that, right? Tatum drove past, he was getting in the middle of the floor like almost every time he wanted, but Tatum starts to get into Tatum mode, which is start to jack up threes, and he gets jump shot happy sometimes. I mean, if I was him, if I'm Jaylen Brown, I'm just gonna keep attacking this Mavericks defense because they space the floor so well that Daniel Gafford is not around the basket. So they get a lot of once you dribble penetrate, it's just it's an easy finish at the rim. Now, when you dribble penetrate, I mean the defense collapses and sometimes you see 2 or 3 guys around the rim, but that's where it opens up Tatum's playmaking abilities and his passing skills. That's where you see him, making these tough passes, or sometimes they make Sometimes he makes the pass to the corner, and then they make the extra pass. I mean, Boston's really really good. They're really really good at it. I mean, that's their offense. That's the basics. That's the basis of their offense, like driving kicks. That's what they do. That's what has made them successful in the regular season, and that's exactly what's made them successful in the playoffs as well. So, just driving kicks, and Dallas cannot guard it. They can't stop whoever's in front of them, right? So they get down the lane, and it's just an easy dish off. Or sometimes when they double team, I mean, they know these guys are not going to rotate, so it's just easy for Boston. I just think that Boston, every time they got down in this game, they always felt like they could definitely come back because they always have the defense at the tips of their hands. So even if they're down by 5, even if they're down by 7 or double digits, they always feel confident that they can definitely make a run and cut it close or cut it to single digits. At one point, Dallas was up by 13. Now that was in the first half. I mean, in the first quarter, which being up by 13 in the first quarter, that's not nothing because in today's NBA, no lead is safe. So even if you have a 13-point lead in the first quarter, it's nothing. I mean, 3 threes and 2 layups, and it's almost a tie game right there. Right? It's a tie game right there. So at this point, I don't think Dallas could do anything different. I mean, why would you wait until game 4 to make an adjustment? I mean, I haven't really seen any adjustment, to be honest with y'all. Okay, let me be honest. I saw only one adjustment, which is giving Tim Hardaway Jr. Extended minutes. Now, for anybody who was questioning why is Tim Hardaway not playing, I mean, last night that answers your question why he's not playing. Because he's terrible. And it hurts me to say this because I was a huge fan of Tim Hardaway. Like I really respected him, but I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know if he's in his head or it's a shooting slump or whatever's going on. It's just I don't know. It's just he's playing so terrible, and I never imagined that he would be this terrible, especially in the playoffs. Because I think he was fine in the regular season, but got into the playoffs and missed out on the rotations a few times, and I think that's really messing with his confidence. It's really messing with his confidence, and you can clearly tell. I mean, he got on the floor, and this it's another thing that I had issues with Dallas's offense. If your offensive possession ends on a Tim Hardaway ISO, then you should clearly know that there's something going on. There's some issues wrong. There's something is not right with the offense. Because in no situation should Tim Hardaway Jr. be ISOing on an offensive possession, especially when Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic is on the floor. Why is he ISOing? Like why? That's not a high percentage shot. So why would you let him ISO? And that is coaching. That is definitely coaching. And sometimes when Kyrie or Luka's ISOing, the spacing is just terrible. And Boston is able to get in the gaps and they're able to send help, right? They're able to how do I even put this? They're able to stop the bleeding because they know Kyrie's not going to get anywhere because the spacing is just terrible on the floor. And that is coaching as well. But nobody's calling this out, right? All you keep hearing is Luka's a terrible defender. Luka's this, Luka's that. He's a terrible defender. He's not giving any effort, which he's not giving any effort, right? I'm not going to deny that. But at the same time, why is nobody calling out J Kidd? J Kidd is the head of this, right? He's watching this trash on live TV, and he's not doing anything about it. Not a single thing. Not one thing has he done differently from the first 2 games. Now he better try something different, or else the Boston Celtics might sweep the Dallas Mavericks, and that would be the most embarrassing thing for not just the Dallas Mavericks, for the Western Conference as well. Now, yeah, Boston is the best team in the league, right? We get that. They won 64 games in the regular season. Yeah, we get that. But the team, I mean, the Western Conference that y'all keep saying that it's the toughest conference. A team came out of the Western Conference and got swept. That is a bad look. I'm sorry, that definitely is a bad look. It is a bad look, and it's a bad look for Kyrie Irving as well because, in case y'all forgot, Kyrie Irving was on the Brooklyn Nets in 2022, and he got swept in the first round by the same Boston Celtics team. Now it was a different team back then because they had Grant Williams, Marcus Smart, Robert Williams, and a few of those other guys. But the core is still the same right now. I mean, they still got Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, right? Different coach, different supporting cast. But it's the same Boston Celtics team, and getting swept by the same team 2 out of the last 3 years, I don't think that's something that Kyrie Irving would want on his resume, especially a team that he departed from in order to, better his career, and then you end up getting swept by that same team 2 out of the last 3 years. That's a terrible look for Kyrie Irving. It definitely is a terrible look for Kyrie, and is also a terrible look for J Kidd because you get a sweep on your resume. It's a terrible look for Luka Doncic as well. You get a sweep on your resume on the biggest stage in the NBA Finals. You get swept. Now, great players get swept sometimes, right? I mean, we're not gonna sit up here and make it seem like great players never get swept. I mean, LeBron got swept twice in the finals, right? 07 and 2018. He got swept. Magic Johnson got swept in the finals twice. I don't care if he was hurt in the second one. He got swept when he was on the floor. He lost a game. I don't care if he was hurt. He lost in 1983 and 1989. 1983 to yours truthfully, the Philadelphia 76ers. And the second one by the Detroit Pistons, right? Kareem got swept in the finals, right? A few other great players didn't get swept in the finals, but they got swept at some point in the playoffs. I mean, Michael Jordan got swept 3 straight years in the first round, right? So great players do get swept sometimes. It happens. Great players blow 3-1 leads sometimes. It happens, right? But I mean, me personally, I wouldn't want to go all the way and get swept. Like, yo, bro, I'd rather get swept in the first round rather than go all the way to the NBA Finals and get swept. Nah, I have too much pride to let that happen. I play with so much resiliency. So, me personally, knowing the person I am, I'm not gonna let that happen. I wouldn't want that on my resume. And I think the Dallas Mavericks should feel the same type of way. Now, I strongly believe that they're gonna win Game 4. I strongly believe. I mean, I thought they were gonna win Game 3 and make this a 2-1 series, but they didn't do it. They couldn't do it. Just terrible plays after terrible plays, empty offensive possessions after empty offensive possessions. Uh, Not getting back on defense, mainly Luka Doncic. Miscommunications everywhere, misrotations, not rotating to the right, not rotating to the open guys, right? And offensively, they didn't go to Daniel Gafford not one time, and I was asking myself why, because Daniel Gafford in Game 2, he showed you flashes that he could definitely dominate Tatum on the block, and he had like 2 or 3 straight possessions where he scored on those possessions. So I was asking myself, why is he not? Why are they not trying to like go to him and see what he can give you? But instead, Tim Hardaway Jr. is ISOing, right? My goodness. Tim Hardaway is ISOing while Kyrie Irving and Luka's on the floor. That's when there's something definitely there's something wrong with the offense. And I keep hearing people saying that Kyrie and Luka, they're not helping their teammates. They're not making their teammates better. It's not that they're not making their teammates better. It's just that Boston's game plan has just been so superior than their game plan. And they've made it such a way that they're not gonna give up a lot of corner threes. Now they gave up a few of them, right? Which I'm definitely sure Joe Mazzulla was definitely pissed off about it, but they ended up winning, so it's not going to be that big of a deal. And shout out to Joe Mazzulla, man. Like I said, he's probably he's definitely a top head coach in the NBA. And I'm saying it right now, he's better than Ime Udoka, and I'll be willing to argue that with anybody. He's a better head coach than Ime Udoka. I'm saying it again. He's definitely better than them, right? And this game plan, I mean, the defensive strategies is just it's been so crucial for the Boston Celtics. They're winning on both sides of the floor, offensively and defensively. They're making shots. They take a lot of threes, but they make a decent percentage. I mean, not a decent percentage, a very good, a good enough percentage of them, right? They shot 40. They shot 40 something threes in game 3, right? And they made I think 16 or 17 of them. And Dallas only shot like 25, and they're not making. I mean, Boston gets a lot of wide open shots because they move the ball, the players move, right? And it always causes Dallas's defense to be in rotation. And sometimes they get sometimes they end up getting, offensive rebounds out of it because when your team is rotating like that, nobody boxes out. Shout out to my guy Twin Sports One, bro. I appreciate you for being here. Yeah, I know it's late night, but I had to talk about this. He said, "Told you Celtics in 5, but now it might be a sweep." I think it might be a sweep. I think, but Celtics will like to celebrate on their home floor. Yeah, I said the same thing too. I think they might they might let. I don't want to even say it, but I have a strong feeling that Dallas might win game 4, and then they go back home and then they close it out on their home floor. But I mean, if you want to give up games like that, it's very tricky because you never know. Like the one thing you don't want to give a team that's down is to give them confidence. Because I remember last year, Jalen Brown was, he was one of the ones when they was down 0-3 to the Miami Heat. He kept saying like, "Yo, don't let us get one. Yo, don't let us get one. Don't let us get one. Don't let us get one." And they got one. They got two. They got three. And then in the fourth game, they end up coming up short. They lost to the Miami Heat on their home floor. So, I mean, if I'm Boston, I don't want to risk it. Uh, if you have a chance to close out a team, just close them. You close them out. And I mean, sweeping Luka Doncic, that'd definitely be a huge plus on Tatum and Jalen Brown's records. I mean, I swept Luka Doncic in my career. I mean, yeah, that's yeah, that's definitely something that you definitely want to have on your resume. I mean, Steph Curry will definitely be bragging about sweeping LeBron in the NBA Finals. So yeah, he said, "Man, the Mavs are cooked." Yeah, they are cooked. And bro, I have a question. Why isn't anybody cooking this guy right here? You see the hypocrisy? I'm not gonna say no names, but we know certain people when it's their guys, when it's their team, they blame the head coach, right? But when it's guys they don't like, now it's on the players, right? And there's no way that you can watch this game and tell me that you don't see anything wrong with the Dallas Mavericks offense and defense. On top of Luka Doncic being, doing whatever he's doing, right? Arguing with the refs, not getting back on defense, right? But when the defense gets set, when they put two on the ball, these guys are not rotating. When they're guarding the perimeter, these guys cannot contain the ball. There's no way that you can watch this finals, that you can watch the Dallas Mavericks and tell me that there's nothing wrong with their defense. I'm not trying to hear that. It's either you don't know basketball or you're trolling. And we know a lot of guys like to troll. A lot of guys like to troll, and it's just like, man, I don't know. How you feel about people thinking Mavs don't deserve to be in the fight? I mean, bro, it's just sour grapes. It's just sour grapes. I mean, in the NBA, nobody deserves to, do anything. You earn your way, and they earn their way to get to the finals. They beat the Clippers. I don't want to hear Kawhi was hurt. They beat the Clippers. The Clippers traded for Harden for situations like that, right? Now I know it's the playoffs, right? It's the playoffs, but you're trying to tell me that James Harden and Paul George cannot get it done against Kyrie and Luca, and Kyrie and Luca was trash in that series. but PG and Harden were also trash. It is what it is. But I mean, I'm not gonna say I don't think they don't deserve. I mean, come on, bro. Why would you say that? That's sour grapes. They don't deserve to. Yeah, that's a little bit out of line. They don't deserve, like, so who deserves to be in the finals? If if the team you're gonna tell me deserves to be in the finals, why they didn't make it? I can't sit up here and say the Sixers deserve to be in the finals. They ain't did shit. They didn't step up. And saying that, Embiid, you're a clown. I'm sorry, you a clown. You a straight clown. Don't worry about the Celtics. Don't worry about the Mavs. Don't worry about Milwaukee. Focus on yourself. Focus on trying to get healthy for a long postseason run. Don't focus on the other teams talking about that the Bucks give them the championship. The Wizards gave you the championship back in 2021, and you got choked. Now you didn't choke, right? You did your thing. You had a meniscus injury, whatever it was. But in Game 7 against the Atlanta Hawks, you had eight turnovers. You had eight turnovers. If you only had three, we probably would have been able to capitalize on those 5 possessions that you gave away. So Embiid, you a clown. I'm sorry, you a clown. Don't worry about them. Focus on trying to get healthy and focus on the 76ers. Don't focus on no Milwaukee. Don't focus on no Boston. Focus on yourself and your team. Clown ass dude, bro. Yeah, that was, by the way, I had to get that out. Embiid is a clown. And you see, I'm not being biased. I'm not being biased. I call out my players when I think they're doing wrong. Now, I'm not saying Embiid is doing wrong, but you're just focusing on something that's irrelevant. You focus on yourself, focus on your team, right? Focus on trying to stay healthy for the long run. Don't focus on no Milwaukee, bro. Focus on trying to get out of the second round instead of the 76ers being the laughing stock of the NBA. The Sixers and the Celtics were both in the same ballpark. They were both trash, right? Back in 2013, 2012, 2014, let me say. The Sixers and the Celtics were both trash. And I blame the Sixers as well. I blame the front office. You draft 5 centers. Five centers. Yeah, let me not get on the Sixers, man. I might hurt a lot of feelings tonight. Embiid was hurt. Bro, it's about I'm getting tired of this. I'm getting tired of this excuse. Oh, he was hurt. No, I was hurt. You stepped on the floor. And when you step on the floor, you're telling us that you're ready to go. And you did. You put up good numbers. In my eyes, you put up good numbers. 33 points. That's right around your career averages. So yeah. But I mean, the Sixers losing to the Knicks, that's not Embiid's fault, right? Even though I feel like if he was much healthier, we probably would have got more probably would have got more production out of him, and we probably could have won. But I mean, if the role players don't step up, that's it's too much that Embiid can do. So I mean, I'm not blaming him, but against Boston last season, it's on him. It's on Harden. It's on Doc Rivers. And Doc Rivers, you a clown too. Talking about, oh, the Sixers in Philly is probably the worst place for a home crowd. What are you trying to say? That the Sixers crowd is trash? Like, what are you trying to say? That the Sixer crowd don't love their team? They don't cheer for the team? The Sixers crowd is one of the best crowds in the NBA. So you're trying to throw shade at the Sixers crowd because you with the Bucks? Come on, man. Don't do that. Don't do that. Like, when we say a healthy Kawhi, it makes a difference. I mean, it does make a difference, but I mean, we've seen Kawhi get walked down before, so don't always think that if he's healthy, they're automatically gonna win. We've seen him get walked down before, so it can go either or. It can go both ways, right? It can go both ways. Even though if you have Kawhi on the floor, yeah, your chances are much better, right? Because Kawhi is definitely a huge part of the Clippers. Kawhi does a lot for that unit, offensively and defensively. So, yeah, but I mean, if Kawhi doesn't play, you should have guys that could step up into that role. Paul George is a 9-time All Star. Like, come on, man. And I'm a Paul George fan. I'm a huge nah, Tuna Sports, we're not doing that. If you're gonna blame Ty Lue, then blame this dude over here then. Do you blame this guy on your screen for the Mavericks? Do you blame this guy right here? Because nobody's blaming him. All you keep hearing is Luka is trash on defense. Luka is this, Luka is that. But nobody's giving this dude any smoke. Watch the Dallas Mavericks on yeah, watch them on defense. Now I don't know if playing against a 5-out offense is just something that they never came across. I mean, it could be, right? It could be because they played against the Clippers. The Clippers are more 4-out, 1-in because they have Zubac. He doesn't stretch the floor whatsoever, right? And then they play the Thunder. I mean, Chet is not he's not a great 3-point shooter, even though he does spaces the floor out. But he had an inconsistent series in terms of shooting the 3-ball, right? And then you play against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and it's more 4-out, 1-in because Rudy Gobert does not spread the floor. And then you go up against a 5-out offense, and you're struggling with it, right? So, but I still thought highly of Jason Kidd. I thought J Kidd could have did more with this team. Um, even though there are a few defensive liabilities on the floor. That's why I thought playing zone could have at least helped with that uh dribble penetration that Boston kept getting every single time because Dallas cannot contain the ball. But yeah, he's responsible for the defense and the offense as well. Because sometimes Kyrie and Luka draw double teams, and their guys are not backdoor. They're not, trying to catch the defense off guard. Like, bro, they had so many backdoor cut opportunities that PJ Washington is not cutting. Derrick Jones Jr. is not cutting, and that is coaching as well. That is definitely coaching. And sometimes, Luka trying to foul bait. Luka had Peyton Pritchard 5. He's 5'10. He's listed at 6'1. He's 5'10. He had Peyton Pritchard on him, and he trying to draw a foul. Like, come on, bro. Are you that desperate to get to the free throw line, bro? That you need the whistle? Come on. It's the NBA Finals, bro. Like, come on, man. Damn, these guys are taking the finals for granted, man. You never know. You might not even get back to the finals again. Ask Allen Iverson. Ask Charles Barkley. They got to the finals one time and they never made it back. Now, a few guys now, Karl Malone got there twice, but he lost both times because he ran into Jordan and he ran into Mike, and Mike is the best player in the 90s. So but sometimes if you get an opportunity like that, you should just take full advantage of it, right? And not just let it slip away. At least AI got you a game. I mean, yeah, that's true. AI did get you a game. He played the game of his life. Uh, 48 points. Yeah, AI did ball out. He balled out, and I think he's top 5 in finals. I mean, points per game in the finals. I think he's top 5. I don't know who's number 1, but he's definitely top 5. He averaged like 35 in that series. Right, so he gave it everything he had. That's why I was saying that I don't think Iverson's gonna sit back and kind of like regret, like, is there something I could have did better in the finals? I don't think he has thoughts like that, right? But Luka crying for fouls, not getting back on defense. I think if he never gets back to the finals, he'll probably sit back and say to himself like, "Yo, what could I have done better in the finals when I got there?" But I mean, he's still young. He's 26. But the thing is, you have a lot of talent in the NBA, and it's not a guarantee that when you make it to the finals, you might get back there again. So when you get there, you got to take full advantage of it. Now, the Boston Celtics is a different thing, right? They got to the finals like 2 years ago, and they were back in the finals. So it's a little bit different for them, right? But especially in the Western Conference, which I mean, people keep telling me that or telling us that it's a tougher conference, and we got a team from the weak Eastern Conference just beating the heck out of the Dallas Mavericks. Kept hearing people saying that the champion is coming out of the Western Conference, right? The champion's coming out of the Western Conference. Champions coming out of the Western Conference, and that champion is down 0-3, right? The champion is, I mean, the contenders is down 0-3. The Western Conference champions is down 0-3. At Iverson's size, to do what he did, it's just amazing. Yeah. I mean, people just. What hurts me is that people just look at his shooting percentages and he was inefficient. He shot 42 or 43% from the field, but people don't realize that the defensive era that he played in, right? Defensive era that he played in. If he played in an era like this where the lanes is opened up, right? Open floor instead of a clogged lane, his percentages would probably be a lot better than what it is. Like Tuna Sport, I was telling you last time, like, yo, I'm looking at the Celtics and the Cavs back in 08, and I saw Ben Wallace and Zydrunas Ilgauskas on the same floor. And I'm looking at that game, and I was kind of like looking at it from 2024 point of view, and I'm like, yo, the spacing is just terrible. But that was the era of basketball at the time. So, but if you got Ben Wallace and Ilgauskas on the floor, like, yo, that space is going to be terrible. Terrible. And that's what the Cavs is dealing with right now with Allen and Mobley. I mean, even though it's a little better now because Mobley's a little bit. He can spread the floor to a certain degree. In the playoffs against the Orlando Magic in Game 1, he was hitting threes. He spread the floor. He was a threat out there. That. He was over it at that point. He definitely was at that point. But this Mavericks team, I don't know, but I mean, it was fun while it lasted, right? It was fun while it lasted. I don't know if you would want to call it a Cinderella run, but I mean, nobody picked the Dallas Mavericks to get to the finals. I mean, I picked them to lose in the first round, with or without Kawhi Leonard. I picked them to lose in the first round. I thought the Clippers had enough, but they proved me otherwise, right? They proved me otherwise. The players didn't step up. It is what it is. And then in the second round, after that Game 4, when SGA was going off, being that mid-range assassin that he is, right, killing them in the mid-range, I thought they probably could have won. But once they got to the conference finals, I said to myself that Dallas is going to the finals, right? And Dallas ends up going to the finals, and they were probably not ready for this. They were definitely not ready for this ass whipping. And a team from the weak Eastern Conference is just got the best of them, and it's just sad because I really feel that they definitely could have avoided a lot of this, right? They definitely could have avoided a lot of this. In Game 2, they had a real shot at winning, but a few bad possessions here and there. A few bad offensive possessions here and there, and some defensive miscommunications. They end up losing, and they couldn't capitalize on. Boston shooting so terrible in Game 2. Tuna Sports says Kyrie got his 30 like we predicted. Nah, I had Luka going for 30 and Kyrie going for 27, but it was flipped around. So Kyrie ended up getting 30 plus. Was it 33 or 30, 35? One of them. And Luka ended up finishing with 27. Now Kyrie did his thing, right? Offensively, he did his thing, but defensively, he was getting, there was a play where Kyrie was in the strong side corner. And that is another coaching error. When you're in the strong side corner, you don't help. The most thing you can do from the strong side corner is stunt and recover. Help and recover. Back to your man. And I think he was on Jaylen Brown and he committed to the double team, and then I don't know, Jason Tatum passed it off, and Kyrie was just looking for the ball. He was like, "Where'd the ball go?" Like he was just turning around. It was like he couldn't believe what just happened. He couldn't believe what just took place. And Jaylen Brown, easy corner three, easy practice shot. He makes a shot. That's coaching. That is coaching right there. You don't help from the strong side corner. But offensively, he did his thing. He was getting he was getting to his spots. He had some tough step back threes, which it was bad offense. A lot of those shots were bad shots, but I mean they went in. But just because they go in doesn't mean it's not a bad shot. Bad shots go in sometimes. But he made those shots. He redeemed himself to a certain degree, to a certain level in the series. Right, I haven't even looked up his series stats, but he's still his percentages are still a little bit down. His averages might go up a little bit, but the percentages is just terrible. He had a 37% true shooting, and that is after the first two games. That's so atrocious. And on top of that, these bench players coming in, they're not really doing anything. Um, the offense, like I said, bro, if your offensive possession ends with Tim Hardaway having the ISO, you should know there's something wrong with that. There's something wrong with that offense. Or PJ Washington ISOing at top of the key. That is so. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if Boston paid them off to let them win. I don't know, man. It's just because this don't look like the Dallas team I saw against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, Dallas had the advantages, right? But it's just that Jason Kidd has not been able to counter Jason Tatum on the bigs. He hasn't been able to counter that adjustment. And that right there, and I keep saying it, Joe Mazzulla is better than Ime Udoka. And I'm willing to debate anybody on that, right? This game plan right here, and it surprises me that some Celtics fans are not giving him his props. I mean, you typical Celtics fans. I mean, not surprised there, but I keep saying this is they keep saying that this is Ime Udoka's team, and Joe Mazzulla just inherited it. I mean, yeah, that's life. Life is not fair. But when Ime was the head coach of the team, Kristaps Porzingis was not on there, right? Drew Holiday was not on the team, but I mean, Xavier Tillman was not on the team. And Tuna Sports, one more thing. Xavier Tillman did a solid job coming off the bench. He had some solid offensive plays. He grabbed a few offensive rebounds. He held his own on the perimeter, right? They thought he was a mismatch on the perimeter, but he held his own. Now Kyrie did make a few tough layups on him, but I mean those are tough shots. He contested them. He played it very well, and he had a tough corner three, which I was surprised he hit that, and you could tell he was so happy because he never expected to play in the finals, but Kristaps Porzingis going down, that gave him an opportunity, and he stepped on the floor, and he didn't disappoint. He didn't disappoint Joe Mazzulla. He didn't let down the fans. He played to the best of his abilities, and I think that was definitely a great choice that they went with. I don't think that you should play Luke Cornett in this series. I don't want to see Luke Cornett in this series because he would definitely be terrible. Smash the like button as y'all come in, man. Smash the like button for me. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, just subscribe to the channel for me, DFJ Hoops. Yeah, we're just talking about the sorry ass Dallas Mavericks. And this is the beginning of the end for the Dallas Mavericks. When you get an opportunity like this, you take full advantage of it. But hey, what do I know? Maybe they might get back in 2025. Who knows? Right? Maybe Luka Doncic might get better on defense and you'll start locking everybody up, or start to give a little bit of resistance on the perimeter and start locking guys up. Who knows? But the rate that he gets blown by is just, man, it's just sad to watch. It's just sad. And you got to have some pride because if you're playing, I mean, I don't know his mindset, but me personally, I'm not gonna watch somebody blow past me every single time and not give a little, not slide my feet, not give a little bit of resistance. Like, no, that's not gonna happen. Not to me. But I mean, I don't think he believes in defense. He's been playing offense his whole life, and the offense has, given him the life that he has right now. I mean, guys are playing defense; they don't even have what he has. He's about to sign one of the biggest contracts in NBA history. I think 373, something like that, with incentives on it because he made first team All NBA. So, I mean, why would he play defense? I mean, look at it from his standpoint of view. Like, why should I play? I mean, I played offense my whole life. I got this big contract. I get it, but I mean, you're in the NBA Finals. You got to do whatever it takes to win. So, I mean, to win in sports, I get it, but at some point, you got to play defense. At some point, you don't got to be a target for the other team. Got to show some resistance on the floor. Now, yeah, it is your job to get buckets, but I mean, last game he took 27 shots to get 27 points, right? 27 shots to get, bro. He was missing these easy bunnies around the rim. I couldn't even believe it. On mismatches, on Peyton Pritchard, he's trying to draw a foul, and then he'll have the mismatch. Instead of going to the basket, he'll just settle for a three. And I was like, bro, you could have easily went downhill. Like, easily. Yeah, defense is definitely about effort too. And if you're not willing to, you know, give effort, you might as well not, you're not going to be a good defensive player. A lot of defense is, effort. So I think he definitely has to get in better shape, right? If he really cares about winning. Now, if he doesn't care about winning, that's one thing, right? Because some people don't really care about winning. They play the game, and if they get to wherever they get to, it's like, all right. I mean, I'm gonna just I'm gonna just play this out. If I win, I win. If I don't win, it is what it is. But to have Lucas, caliber talent, to be the caliber player he is, Lucas is definitely a generational talent, right? So if you get to a level like this, you definitely want to do whatever it takes to possibly win and not let this opportunity slip away. Because Tatum and Brown, I mean, after what happened to them like 2 years ago, they don't want that to happen to them again. So they're playing their tails off. I mean, Jalen Brown has been on a tear. Jalen Brown is probably the um the front runner for Finals MVP. And Tatum, even though he's not scoring, I mean, he's doing other things, playmaking, rebounding, playing defense. He's doing other things as well. Now, he did finish the last game with 30 points, and people thought he was, shot chucking because he was trying to get that Finals MVP. But I mean, at this point, I think it's over with. I think it's settled. Jalen Brown definitely, excuse me, Jalen Brown is definitely going to be the Finals MVP. So, um, yeah, Jason Tatum probably wait till the next time, but the narratives that's gonna come out after this series, oh my goodness, it's gonna be nasty work. It's gonna be nasty work. I mean, it already started. I mean, Jason Tatum got carried to a championship, right? We started here. We've been hearing it. So, and people saying it's a fluke, right? And if you say Dallas don't deserve to be in the finals, did Boston deserve to be in the finals? Bro, I'm not no Tatum apologist, bro. Just stop it. Stop it. I'm not no Tatum. I mean, I just said that Jalen Brown is the front runner for Finals MVP. If I had a vote, I'm voting for Jalen Brown, but I don't have a vote. Right? It's definitely Jalen Brown because Jalen Brown has been the best player on both sides of the floor, offensively, defensively. He's taken this Luca assignment and he's done a solid job on him. Now, Lucas, he's getting his points because he takes a ton of shots, right? But overall, the better performer, yeah, it definitely has been Jalen Brown. It definitely has been Jalen Brown. He's playing as, like he said, he's probably playing the best basketball of his career. And yeah, he's in his prime. And Jalen Brown should definitely make an all defensive team. Now, I mean, his for whatever reason, I don't know, it seems like his defensive intensity turns up in the playoffs. because I saw last year he was playing some good enough defense on teams that they played against, but you don't see that same intensity in the regular season. You see it in spurts, but you don't see it constantly. So I think that's why he hasn't really made an all defensive team yet. But I think next year is definitely going to be different, right? It'll definitely be different. I think Jalen Brown would definitely make an all defensive team. He'll probably make an all NBA team as well. I mean, people are making the argument that he should have made it because Steph Curry didn't make the playoffs. But I mean, I disagree with that. It is what it is. Jalen Brown is just as good as Jason Tatum, but I still edge Tatum. Yeah, yeah, me too. I feel that way. I mean, what's one thing that Tatum does better than Jalen Brown? I think he has pretty handles, right? He has pretty handles for his size, and his jump shot is a lot prettier than Jalen Brown, even though it's a lot of bricks. And yeah, right, right. Jason Tatum is a better playmaker as well. He's a better rebounder too, right? Because I think Jason Tatum's averaging like what 10, I mean double digit rebounds in these playoffs. Not just in the series, but in the entire playoffs, right? But I mean Jalen Brown is just as effective as Jason Tatum, right? I mean Jalen Brown is just almost unstoppable in an open floor and transition. It's just like once he gets that ball in transition, it's almost impossible to stop him. Almost impossible to stop him, right? So yeah, I'll definitely edge it to Jason Tatum. I'll give Jason Tatum the edge, but they both are just as effective, and you can clearly see it in this finals. So now maybe Jason Tatum might be a lot better in next year's playoffs. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe Luca and the Mavs have a different plan. They might push this to Game 7, even though I would not gonna favor them to push it to a Game 7. I think it ends in Game 5. Hopefully, it don't end in Game 4 because that will definitely be an embarrassment to the Western Conference, right? And I don't want that to happen. So, but hopefully, we get to see something different, differently defensively for the Mavs and offensively as well. I mean, we're probably not going to see Tim Hardaway Jr. We're probably not going to see him, right? And hopefully this defense gets a little bit better. Now, I mean, if you can't contain the ball, you probably can't really do much, right? But well, just try something a little bit different because we just seen them try to switch everything, and clearly it's not working. So you just got to try something different. Jason Kidd, right? It's your fault that the Mavs is down 0-3. I give you the biggest blame of him, and then secondly, I give Luca the second most blame. Bro, it's over. Get ready to just focus on your Sixers content. Um, yeah, I mean it is over. I mean when a team goes up 3-0, 3-0, it's pretty much over. I mean it's not baseball or it's not hockey because those sports we've seen teams come back down from 0-3. So, but basketball is a different sport. It's a different grind. Something completely different. So, yeah. But the Sixers, yeah, we definitely going to talk about the Sixers. I had to put a few Sixer players in their places, and B had to get in this place. Talking about the Milwaukee, gift the Boston Celtics a championship. You better think about getting out of the second round and stop worrying about other teams. But yeah, that's all I got. I mean, Dallas, game 4 tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, I think, 8:30. And Dallas, right? And they brought all the stars out, and it's just an embarrassing performance from the team. Patrick Mahomes was out there, Steve Nash was out there. Hey, Tuna Sports, the Cavs need to get Steve Nash, bro. But Steve Nash was out there, Dirk was out there, the team legend, the best player in Mavericks history was out there, and y'all had this type of performance. That is terrible. Dallas got to be better. But I mean, it's too late. Um, even if you win, you probably lose in Game 5 anyway. So, yeah, that's. I'll probably end it right here. Appreciate each and everyone that joined. Tune in Sports. I appreciate you for being in here late at night. Right, it's a late night stream reacting to Dallas and Boston Game 3. I was so disgusted, but come on, Steve Nash is not trash. All right, Steve Nash or JB, who's a better coach? Who's a better coach? Because they both never got out the second round as head coaches, right? And they both advanced past the first round. Now, Steve Nash had better talent than what JB had, so I don't know. You'll probably use that to kind of like put JB above him. Oh, there you go. There you go. Come on, man. Come on, bro. Yeah, but hopefully JB gets another job. Hopefully on the Dallas Mavericks, because JK got to get fired. It's like, no, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I don't like seeing head coaches get fired, but I just think that JK could do a better job than what he's doing right now. He totally got out coached in the series. So yeah, JB working with midgets, like you be saying. Oh, so now they midgets, huh? Bro, you're sad. You are sad, bro. You're sad, bro. And two bigs who can't shoot. Evan Mobley can shoot. What are you talking about? Evan Mobley was making threes in the Orlando series. He was hitting threes. So stop it. But I mean, we saw JB have home court advantage, right? And get smoked in the first round. When Steve Nash had home court advantage, he didn't get smoked. He went to 7 games with the Milwaukee Bucks, and his second best player got hurt, Kyrie Irving. So yeah, he said, give JB Kevin Durant. He get into the conference finals, bro. KD couldn't even get to the conference finals in the Eastern Conference, bro, with a better supporting cast. So I don't know, bro. I don't know. I mean, he's yet to get to a conference finals without Golden State, even though he has. I mean, with the Thunder, he got to the conference finals like 4 or 5 times. So yeah, he's shown it. But I mean, you know how people be doing. Since Golden State, he hasn't. So yeah, he's yet to get to the conference finals. But we'll see. I appreciate each and every person that tuned in. Shout out to Tune In Sports. Be on the lookout. Yeah, we definitely got something cooking. Yeah, appreciate each and every person that tuned in. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.